Ryan Reynolds in big trouble with his statement. Today is the day Blake Lively is going to be deposed. So this is amazing evidence. She's contradicting herself when she said that Baldoni was a danger and he needs to be exposed. She never believed that.
Blake Lively admitted the Baldoni situation wasn't the worst she'd faced in Hollywood. Not to a friend, but to a New York Times journalist. This single sentence ripped through her entire public narrative. The carefully constructed victim story shattered. Her powerful husband's fiery defense now looks like a calculated lie. This wasn't just a misstep, it was an earthquake under their polished facade, revealing a hidden agenda far more chilling than anyone imagined. The truth about Hollywood's golden couple just went nuclear.
Wasn't that bad and she never wanted to go public with it. What made her go public with it? Well, she's saying that it was because of the smear campaign.
Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood's charming hero, publicly branded Justin Baldoni a predator, igniting a firestorm. But this sweeping accusation meant to protect his wife has boomeranged, threatening to severely damage them both. It wasn't just careless, it was an undeniable contradiction to Blake's own private admissions, planting the first seeds of serious public doubt. Why the dramatic exaggeration if the truth was far less severe? What was truly at stake here, beyond a public reputation?
Pain was much worse than the actually alleged SH. Well, Megan Thuy was saying that Blake Lively had told her this.
The truth is, Blake Lively wasn't just reacting. Insiders reveal a calculated smear effort aimed at destroying Justin Baldoni's credibility long before any legal action. Psychologist Dr. Ramani, an expert in narcissistic behavior, pointed out how Lively's tactics perfectly aligned with a traditional character attack strategy. This wasn't about seeking justice, it was about weaponizing perception, twisting Baldoni's own admissions of personal growth into damning evidence against him.
Said that this wasn't really bad. And that put Ryan Reynolds in big trouble with his statement, something that I didn't think about here.
Megan Thoroughly, the New York Times journalist who initially helped spotlight Blake Lively's claims, inadvertently blew the entire story wide open. In a resurfaced December 2024 interview, Thoroughly disclosed Blake's private confession. The alleged incident with Baldoni was not even the worst experience she'd endured in Hollywood. This bombshell directly undermined the urgency and severity of Blake's public and legal stance, leaving a trail of questions about her motives.
This was information coming to her, straight to her, from Blake Lively.
If this wasn't the worst, why single out Justin Baldoni so forcefully? Why push a public harassment lawsuit for an incident Blake herself minimized privately while seemingly ignoring more severe experiences? This glaring inconsistency made her legal fight appear less about genuine suffering and more about strategic targeting. The public began connecting the dots, revealing a pattern of selective outrage and questionable priorities.
Say that because it was freedom of speech and he believed him to be a predator. Okay, how could he have believed that he was a predator when Blake Lively was saying that this wasn't?
The contradictions deepened. Megan Thoroughly further revealed that, according to Blake, the on-set situation was managed fairly effectively. Blake established her conditions, demanded specific behavioral adjustments, and Baldoni complied, signing a 17-point contract outlining future conduct. This quiet agreement, made months before any public lawsuit, shows a Blake Lively in full control, not a helpless victim.
Reynolds acted with reckless disregard of the truth. He intentionally exaggerated Blake Lively's experience because, of course, he knew that Justin Baldoni wasn't a predator.
That 17-point behavior contract wasn't a casual workplace agreement. It was signed under immense pressure, with Blake holding all the power. Sources confirm it was essentially blackmail disguised as workplace protection. If Baldoni resisted, the project could collapse, his career ruined. This manipulative tactic, designed to force compliance, completely dismantles the credibility of her supposed victim story. It was a calculated move, plain and simple.
Statement here in this interview, Justin Baldoni could actually prove that.
Ryan Reynolds' protective husband narrative, initially seen as noble, now looks dangerously reckless. How could he brand someone a predator when his own wife privately downplayed the incident's severity to a journalist? This stunning inconsistency wasn't just confusing, it exposed a messy, inconsistent, and highly calculated game. His public declarations, rather than ending the scandal, only unleashed deeper suspicions.
This is amazing evidence. It's so interesting to me how this came up after the case was dismissed.
The fallout from Reynolds' reckless claims didn't stop at public speculation. At the July 2024 Deadpool and Wolverine premiere, Reynolds allegedly pulled strings behind the scenes. He directly approached executives at WME, Baldone's management company, labeling him a predator. This wasn't a private whisper, it was a calculated strike on Baldone's professional future, leveraging Reynolds' star power against him.
Blake Lively said that she had experienced much worse in Hollywood than what actually happened on this.
The repercussions were swift and devastating. WME abruptly severed ties with Justin Baldone immediately after that premiere. Baldone himself cited Reynolds' behind-the-scenes pressure as the direct cause of his dismissal. This wasn't about workplace safety, it was a ruthless leveraging of influence, cutting Baldone off from crucial career opportunities. A true scandal of power misused, with real financial consequences.
Wasn't really that bad. What was bad what came after the smear campaign that she thinks that I was a part of, and a lot of people, all of you creators out there, were part of this smear campaign against her, and of course a lot of bots.
Ari Emanuel, former CEO of WME and an industry power broker, didn't deny Reynolds' influence. In a leaked conversation, Manuel openly acknowledged his deep loyalty to Reynolds and Lively. He called the situation an bad situation for Baldone, but defended his decision, citing his long-standing personal and professional trust in the golden couple. Trust, it seems, outweighed evidence or fairness in Hollywood's inner circles.
I think if she would withdraw her case today, she would look like a coward and a liar.
Manuel's defense further exposed the cracks in the couple's spotless image. He fired Baldone not based on solid evidence, but seemingly driven by Reynolds' personal vendetta and his unwavering faith in Blake and Ryan. This confirmed that Reynolds' reckless claim didn't just generate rumors, it caused Baldone's agency dismissal, his representation, and access to key career opportunities to crumble.
Asked Baldone to sign this agreement of 17 points, that was 30 points, that he should not stop behaving like the way he did, and blah, blah, blah. She said that Baldone's behavior improved with these new protections.
Blake's legal battle spiraled, intensified by her publicist Leslie Sloan. Sloan demanded a staggering $1.3 million in legal fees after her portion of the lawsuit was dismissed. Yet text messages between a journalist and Baldone's team revealed Sloan admitted she wasn't aware of certain incidents until they hit the press, directly contradicting her aggressive legal stance. This made her demand look like a desperate grab for profit amid the chaos.
Lively approached Justin Baldone and said that he'd need to stop behaving this way. He did stop behaving the way that she was accusing him of behaving, which we now know that he didn't really do, and he only signed these points because he wanted to get back to work.
Adding to the chaos, the Kevin Costner Horizon 2 scandal erupted, offering a stark contrast. Stunt performer Devin LaBella accused Costner of an unscripted violent assault, presenting direct, undeniable proof, text messages, time-stamped conversations, and communications with an intimacy coordinator. This case had receipts, real-time evidence, making Blake's narrative, built on vague after-the-fact claims, look fragile and empty by comparison.
Ryan Reynolds came out and called Justin Baldone a predator. He put this word in front of it.
The public and media quickly noticed the gaping hole in Blake's case. Despite months of attention, court filings, and public statements, Blake had failed to produce a single text message or real-time record supporting her allegations against Baldone. No private messages to Ryan, no emails to staff, just a narrative. The Costner case, with its mountain of concrete evidence, made Blake's legal battle appear increasingly hollow.
Called him that out in public, and he admitted that he had called him that in his motion to dismiss against Justin Baldone.
Even the text that did surface from Blake painted a conflicting picture. Flirty banter and suggestive jokes with Baldone. These exchanges directly contradicted her later claims of discomfort and misconduct. This devastating evidence directly undermines her helpless victim image, forcing deeper questions about the true nature of their interactions and the integrity of her allegations.
This statement is what made WME, his management company, file.
Hollywood insiders began whispering about the meticulously choreographed nature of Blake's legal battle. Her polished victim image, her reliance on strategically placed media interviews, and her ties to powerful outlets now appeared less about justice and more about damage control and narrative manipulation. This wasn't an organic struggle, it was a carefully constructed performance designed to control public perception.
in July 2024 at the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere that Ryan Reynolds had allegedly approached WME and expressed his deep disdain for Baldoni, suggesting the agency was working with a blah blah blah.
The backlash intensified as the public's patience wore thin. Blake, trapped in a fight built on contradictions, media spin, and missing proof, faced a critical juncture. Her credibility took another hit, and her legal narrative unraveled further. The once untouchable facade of the perfect couple was no longer just cracking, it was shattering under the weight of its own inconsistencies.
We know Ari Emanuel, who used to be the CEO of that management company, came out in a podcast where someone forgot to press rec on this podcast, but his quotes were leaked, so we know that he said these things.
Dr. Romani's analysis rings chillingly true. Blake's smear campaign against Baldoni followed a textbook pattern of narcissistic behavior. Twist vulnerabilities, control the narrative, isolate the target, then claim victimhood when the story backfired. This weaponization of power, leveraging media connections and crushing reputations to maintain control, exposed a shocking hypocrisy behind her public persona.
Ari Emanuel said that he always trusted Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and he was basically saying that F Justin Baldoni.
Ryan Reynolds' actions transformed him from Hollywood's charming jokester into a figure wielding power recklessly. His calculated interference at WME, confirmed by Ari Emanuel, revealed the perilous extent of their influence when used to protect a falsehood. This wasn't merely defending his wife, it was weaponizing his status to sabotage another's career without legal merit, exposing a darker side to their golden image.
Ari Emanuel would never have fired Justin Baldoni if it wasn't for Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, meaning that he has actually caused damage to Justin Baldoni financially.
The two Blakes, one manipulating set dynamics with legal documents and contracts, the other crying victim on magazine covers, couldn't coexist without intense scrutiny. Megan Thule's inadvertent slip finally forced that scrutiny into the open, making the inconsistencies undeniable. It became evident this wasn't about justice or healing. It was about control, narrative management, and the ruthless preservation of a crafted image.
Into this situation, as you know. So then Megan Thule continues here to say, yeah, I mean, I think that by her account, this was a situation of problem identified, problem solved, everybody moves on.
Despite major claims against Baldoni being dismissed, Blake intensified her legal efforts rather than withdrawing, even as depositions loomed. This stubbornness proved costly. Baldoni, instead of amending his suit, decided to drop everything and focus solely on defending himself against the relentless smear. This shift highlights the intense pressure and the desperate measures being taken on both sides.
Asking her about the controversies of choosing Blake Lively for this part. And Colin Hoover starts talking about all the backlash against Blake Lively. And this was in 2023. So this was way before Justin Baldoni could ever have started this smear campaign.
The fall of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' carefully curated empire is a cautionary tale. Their brand, once built on smoke and mirrors, is collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions, revealed by their own words and actions. The meltdown wasn't fueled by external critics. It was a ticking time bomb within their meticulously managed PR machine. As their influence unravels, Hollywood watches a supposed power couple face the harsh reality that even the most glittering facades can shatter, leaving behind a trail of manipulated truths and damaged lives.